On August 31st, 1939, the order was given to evacuate major cities in England. Evacuation tried to ensure the safety of young children from the cities that were considered to be in danger of German bombing. These cities were London, Liverpool, Birmingham, and Portsmouth. We were lucky enough to get an interview with Gordon Draper, who is an immigrant who came from Liverpool to Canada. We asked Mr. Draper what the advantages and disadvantages were about being evacuated.
The advantages were that we got to see a part of the country that we never had seen before because we were city kids. And in a big city, in Liverpool, a port, and all that we ever saw was ships and things coming in all the time. We never saw animals, cows. We did see horses in the streets, but that's about it. And so we got to see the countryside, which we very rarely got to see before that, and got to live the life of a farmer for a while, and got to see the milk and the cows and various aspects of farm life that we'd never seen or experienced before. And so that was an advantage to us. A disadvantage was, of course, there were many, because we were away from our own environment that we were used to. We were away from our mother. We were away from all our family, friends, and school that you normally went to, and we had to go to a new school, of course, when we were evacuated. So there were a lot of disadvantages in that. Also, that the people that we went to were not too friendly, and mostly did it just for the recompense that the government, or the money that the government gave them to look after us, and that was pretty well all they were in it for, you know, and so they weren't too friendly, and we were in a strange environment. Luckily, there were two of us. If it had just been me on my own, it would have been even worse, but because I had my brother with me, so that made it better.
We asked him what it was like to leave his family behind.
That was very traumatic. Not so much for me, because basically I was with my brother, and it was only my mother we were leaving at that time. So I wasn't leaving a huge family behind, and it was more like an adventure to us at the time, because we were going out to an unknown place. We had no idea where we were going, and so it was an adventure for us. And at the same time as we were sad to wave goodbye to my mother at the railway station, we were also looking forward to the unknown. And because I had my brother with me, I didn't worry so much, because he was a very protective brother, and he was on the strict orders from my mother that no harm was to come to me, you know. He could die, but not me. And so actually we set out on an adventure, really, and going to an unknown place. So we were kind of looking forward to this, you know. We had no idea where we were going, so it was kind of exciting, you know, going to the unknown. So, and that's basically what it was like to leave. There were thousands of kids all leaving at the same time. They were packed onto these trains with a little, you all had a gas mask, which were being issued at the beginning of the war, and a little bag with a few clothes in it and a few sandwiches that your mother had thrown together for you, and jammed into these trains. And all these thousands of little scruffy kids were all waving and shouting and screaming and sticking their heads out the window, and their mothers were on the side of the platform crying and weeping, and the kids were crying, and some of them were laughing, and some of them were hurling insults at the other kids, and it was kind of quite an experience, really. But for the mothers, it was more traumatic for the mothers than it was for the kids, I think, because imagine having your child just torn away from you and was being sent off to God knows where, because nobody knew where we were going. Even the mothers didn't know where we were going. So, but for the kids themselves, I mean, it was like going on a big picnic, you know. When the train stopped, finally, and we were unloaded, we had no idea where we were. And then we were sort of all herded together and marched like an army into this village and into this, I think it was a church hall. And we were all herded into this big hall, and the teachers from the school were with us, and so they were kind of, you know, watching over us, and that's what happened when we got to our destination. Except that the embarrassing part of the whole thing was none of the kids had been pre-chosen by anybody. So the people that were going to take the kids in, that had accepted the challenge of taking total strangers into their house, were a mixture of all kinds of different people. And of course the kids were a mixture of all kinds of different kids. Some kids were, most of us were scruffy little kids from the city, but some of them were quite refined, and some were pretty, and some were downright bloody ugly, you know. And they lined us up in this hall, and these people came walking by us, and they were picking out, oh, I'll take this little girl, or I'll take that little boy, I'll maybe take two of them, and they'd walk past other little kids, and the little kids are left standing there wondering, well, who wants me, you know? And it was very traumatic, because as the people took various children, the line got smaller and smaller, and I guess the ones at the end must have felt like they were really Oliver Twist or something, you know, unwanted.
For Mohawk News, I'm Mike Angus.